Good morning. I can't hear you.
Okay, hopefully you can hear me now. Sorry. Can you hear me okay now? You can't? Okay. I am getting sound through my microphone. Testing one, two, three. Um, hmm. What is your speaker on? Is it on the correct speaker?
Okay, I hear you now.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
Okay.
All right. How are you doing?
Good. How about you?
Good.
I
Yeah.
thought I'd wear my Missouri shirt in honor of you.
Oh, thank you. I should have put mine on. I have to be honest, I finally, with the move, there was a few of them that, I just like, I gotta get rid of them. And anyway, I still have
Give them
some
away.
in my RPAC stuff, but
Yeah, you can't give away a lot of the RPAC stuff. So it's
well, I know that's what Aaron told me. And so I thought, well, maybe somebody from the board might. And then I thought, well, no, I can't do that. So,
Mhm.
all right. Well, my daughter might come in, so if we hear my dog barking, I may have to cut that out, but she was going to come over. So anyway, I just thought we'd keep it conversational, and I'll just ask you, what, we'll just have a conversation about safety. So, all
I
right.
figured I'd talk about open houses a little bit,
Yeah,
you know, about some things to do for that. Talk about like the stalkers,
right.
what they're like, who
Yeah,
the bad guys really are.
right.
And then
Yeah, I
talk
think that would
about
be
safety.
great.
Yeah.
Social media, any kind of tips there, because people sometimes I think don't realize that, oh, I'm over at this open house. Well, like you said, a stalker might be wondering, well, is anyone with you at that open house? And
Yeah.
so, um, now you were the first female police officer for
For the city of Clayton, and we
Clayton.
had
Okay.
55 guys.
Okay.
And then I was the first female elected class president at the St. Louis Police Academy.
Okay.
Mhm.
First female elected class president. Okay, great. Okay. Okay.
And you know what my sergeant said?
What's that?
This is what he said to the guys. He goes, I can't believe you're electing and he used the word PUSSY to be your president.
Hmm.
That's what he said back then.
Wow.
And I was in the room. Yeah.
Ha. God. Oh gosh.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Today, that would be $1 million.
Yeah, that would. Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, we'll get started here. And like I said, 10, 15 minutes. Just we'll have it fun.
And you
So
can cut and edit some stuff, right?
yeah, I can do all of
So if
that.
we have to start over on something, we'll just
Right.
say cut.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Hey, thank you for joining the YouTube and podcast with me. I'm John Mayfield with Global Real Estate School, and this is September, and September is all about safety. And I could think of none other than my very good friend, Janet Judd from St. Louis. She's with Remax, and Janet and I have a lot in common. We're on the leadership team together for Missouri Realtors. She was president in 2021, so I was her president elect. And then she became my immediate past president. So we've had lots of time to share and visit. And more importantly, I got to know that Janet is a former police officer. In fact, she was the first female police officer for the city of Clayton, Missouri, which is a suburb of St. Louis. And she just told me before we came on, she was elected and I'll let you explain that, the president of your leadership class for the police academy. Is that
For
correct?
my class. Yeah, when I was at the police academy, St. Louis Police Academy. So I was the first female ever elected as class president.
Which is very cool. That's wonderful. And more importantly, Janet is a top-notch speaker on realtor safety. She travels all over the country. Unfortunately, she can't do a lot of continuing education on safety in Missouri because she's also the are you the chairman of the Missouri Real Estate Commission
I'm
or
not the chairman, but I am one of the 6 commissioners for
one
the
of the
Missouri
six
Real Estate
commissioners?
Commission.
So she wears a lot of different hats, but she's a great friend and really very knowledgeable on safety. So we're going to talk about safety today. And Janet, like my first question is, why do we as realtors forget that this is kind of a dangerous business, or do you think realtors take safety as a concern, or we'll kind of start with that topic?
I really think they don't. They're just that self-awareness that everyone should have. We really don't, because so many of our clients are nice. They're good people, but we forget that there's bad people out there in the world and they want to hurt people. And that's what makes our business unsafe. And the thing that we need to remember is, most of the women, most of the people in real estate are women. That's just the way the percentages work out. And most bad guys, most people in jail are men. So when I talk about a bad guy, most of the time it's going to be a man. And when we talk about men stalking women, in real estate, that's exactly what they do. It's probably going to be a white male somewhere between the ages of 30 and 55 years old. They're going to appear to be very, very normal. They might be in a relationship. They might have family. They're going to have multiple IDs that they feel very comfortable giving out to you. They're going to give you an ID and be very normal about it. They're going to ask the right questions. They're going to gain your trust. And then one of those days, they're going to ask you to see a property that's probably rural. It's probably vacant. But because you trust him and you're at ease with him, that's when you're going to go see a property like that. And that's when an assault or worse could happen.
Great points. And I remember, Janet, a number of years ago, I was doing a preparation for a sales meeting on safety when I wrote a book entitled 5 Minutes to a Great Real Estate Sales Meeting. And I remember doing the research and I was just flabbergasted at the stories I was reading because I just thought, "Oh, I live in this, safe little bubble as a real estate professional." But what you said there about trust, and I remember a few of the stories where women said they trusted the people. And a lot of times it was the husband and wife or the boyfriend and girlfriend together. And then he would show up by himself and say, "Oh, my wife wasn't feeling well," or my girlfriend was not feeling well, or whatever. And so they let their guard down. They went on and showed the property, and that's when they were assaulted. So, understanding that even though you might trust them and know them well, make sure you don't take anything for granted. Like you said, going to a vacant home or a rural property. What about open houses? I mean, a lot of us hold open houses. What are things we should be doing there to protect ourselves?
Well, some agents ask for IDs before people can even enter the property. They want to see some form of identification. Now, that's something we don't do frequently here in St. Louis or anything like that, but in other parts of the United States, they do that very routinely. But having someone sign in, even if it's a fake name, they don't always give us the right phone number. They don't always give us the right name. But believe it or not, there was an agent that was assaulted by a man at an open house, and they were able to use his signature. Even though he put down a fake name and fake phone number, they were able to tie that handwriting to his handwriting to establish that, yes, he had been there. So that was used as part of the evidence in court. So signing in was to her benefit.
Hmm.
So having people
Interesting.
sign in is something I recommend. The other thing is I recommend putting a door hanger on the inside of the front door. I put it on also on the back door going out to the patio. I put it on the walkout sliding glass door. They're like a bell or something that you have on your door, at Christmas time that you can hear people come in. And that way, you know, when you're talking to someone, that someone just came in the house. And that removes the element of surprise from them being able to possibly catch you by surprise or in an awkward position.
Yeah,
The
I
other
love
thing
that
about
idea.
open
That's a
houses,
great point. Yeah.
the other thing about open houses is try to introduce yourself to the neighbor, at least one of the neighbors, so that they know what time your open house begins and when it ends. And then my other tip for open houses is always carry your keys with you, your car keys with you. That way, if something goes on, you might be able to hit the panic button on your remote. And that could have your car get noisy and attract some eyes to the situation.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that because most of the cars today, you could hit the panic button on your car. And so keeping your car keys with you, great, excellent point. I also, in my recent sales meeting for that I provide for associations and brokers to do, I mentioned that, make sure that you don't park your car in a position where you could be blocked in case you need to get away. So
Never
a
park
lot
in the
of those
driveway.
things.
Always park on the street.
Yeah. And get familiar, I guess, as well, because sometimes I'll go in a house and hold it open, but maybe, you know, kind of check things out. Where are the exits and is the backyard fenced and does it have a way to get out?
Exactly. And, when we're talking about that, as far as doors and locking windows and all of that, sometimes an open house will get busy. And sometimes bad people, one will come in and talk to you and seem very interested in the property. And then another one will peruse the house and they might unlock a window. They might do something like that. That way they can come back to the property later on. So you want to make sure that you secure as many windows, check those when you leave, but we should not bear the burden of that. So make sure that you tell Mr. and Mrs. Seller when they come back, if the property is occupied, to be sure to check the windows and make sure everything is secure to their liking.
Excellent points. And I know you mentioned and a lot of times even myself as a man, we want to think that oh it's only women who get hurt in these situations, but there have been male realtors who have been murdered over for drug money or whatever. And just, you know, a vacant house, for example. I could go out and show a vacant house today. What are some things that we should be aware of if we're showing a property that's empty as a real estate professional?
Well, when you're going to show a vacant house, try to get as many details about the buyer as you possibly can. I just showed a vacant house on Monday, and I took my husband with me so that he was in the vehicle and I was able to leave him in the car, but they knew he was there. But the questions to ask is, what kind of vehicle are you driving? What color is it? What make and model? And you can tell them this is for security purposes. And
Eh,
if they're very receptive to that and understand, that helps your level of confidence. But if they're not, and they question you, why do you need to know that? Your radar should go up. So I asked them what's the make and model and license plate. We went over the time that they would arrive. I asked who would be accompanying her, and she said her husband and her daughter. And she gave me their names. So that made me feel more comfortable. But I did take my husband with me because it was someone I got off the internet and it was the first time meeting them.
Great. My dog's barking. Can you hear her in the background?
No,
Oh,
but I
hold
also
on.
wanted to share as far as like when you're in the home with
Hold
someone.
on just a second.
Okay.
Let me. Okay, sorry, I'll cut that out.
That's all right.
Okay. Okay, go right ahead. So I'm
So
gonna.
I was going to say one of my personal pet peeves when I'm showing a property, whether it's vacant or occupied, is when listing agents put the super box on the ground, like it's tied to something on the ground, like around a porch rail or something like that, but it's sitting on the ground. That puts a buyer's agent or showing property at the most disadvantage. It's just not a good position because they're crouched over, they're focusing on a super box. If someone wanted to jump on them or anything like that, that's not a very defensive position that they can defend.
Yeah, yeah, I
So
haven't thought
I
about that.
hate that. So I always make sure I put my boxes at the top of the railing. They're secured more tightly and they're right there, so it's easier for them to open.
That's a
Um,
great point. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Plus, for some of us who are a little getting older, our knees are not as limber as they used to be.
That's a
Um,
second good reason.
Yeah. So a lot of students that may be watching this with Global Real Estate School and others, they may be new agents and they may be thinking, gosh, am I going to need to take someone with me all the time when I show a property? But you've given us some great tips on things you can do for preparedness, like, asking about their driver's license or what kind of car. Any other tips for real estate agents as you you know, have a call and someone wants to look at a property and you don't know who this person is, what are some other suggestions or ideas that you always like to remind us to be mindful of?
Be more assertive. And by that I mean don't be afraid to ask questions. And that you don't, if someone's not being responsive to you, we're all trained to be polite. That's what, is bred into us since we're in kindergarten, is to be nice and be polite. But if someone's not being responsive to you and your spidey senses are saying, I'm not really feeling comfortable with this, you don't have to show it. But what I want to say is, if they say they have to see the house at 3 o'clock, well, you don't have to show it at 3. You can say, I'm not available until 4:30. Change the time so that you can take control of the situation. And if they're truly a bad person, that may be their window of opportunity. And they may not be able to do that to you if you take control and change the times. So that's the kind of things that you can do to help protect yourself, is take control and be more assertive.
Great. And what about tools or any kind of I remember you pulled something out on stage when you gave a wonderful presentation. I believe it was in Chicago at the National Association of Realtors Leadership Week, and you had this little device that, if I remember right, but and I don't know if you were showing us that that's something
I
a
still
bad
have it.
person could have. Yeah, oh, you
I
do,
still
or it's
carry it.
something we might want to consider.
What you're talking about is a Kubotan, Kubuton, and you can buy them on Amazon. And what I have on my keychain is a couple of things. It's something that can hang on the edge of my belt, so it can, on my pants, so that I can wear my keys so my hands are free. So that's why
Okay,
I carry this.
great point.
I've got my key fob, I have a little flashlight, and then here is my Kubotan. And the Kubotan is about 6 inches, 7 inches long, has a slight point on the end, and you can hold this in your hand when you're showing property, when you're walking across the parking lot. That's when you want to be attentive, but you want to have the Kubotan in your hand because if someone tries to hurt you, you can strike them with this. And with that pointy part, you can just stick it in their arm, stick it in their wrist, thigh or whatever, and it's going to hurt and they're going to release you. And so that you can try to make a getaway. I do want to say that if you're going to fight, if you ever come to a point that you can't run away, it's fight or flight. If you can't run away, fight with everything that's in you. Don't be partially fighting about it. It's like, if you're going to fight, you got to fight like you're the last monkey, the third monkey trying to get on Noah's Ark. and
Okay.
attention. You've got to fight like it's nobody's business.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Janet. This has been wonderful. Any other last minute tips or ideas you want to provide for those watching and listening?
For me, it's having a sense of awareness and a sense of you're being responsible for your safety. So before you get out of the car anywhere, I taught my kids, it's called, looking for that pink swirl. Look around for something that's unusual. So if you see someone wearing a big coat or big heavy pants, and it's a summer day, why? Just take a minute to take that into consideration. If you see somebody sitting alone in the car, kind of take a minute to look at it. Maybe they're just eating French fries and having McDonald's, but take a minute and have your head on swivel to look around. Don't sit in a parking lot and be texting people. When you're surrounded by other vehicles, take your car and go to a part of the parking lot that you have more space around yourself, and that protects your safety. That's what I
Yeah.
would encourage you to do. So
Well, good.
don't have your phone in your hand all the time, and be more aware and be more safety alert.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Janet. Be proactive. It really is, a lot of times we are reactive as organizations and offices. In other words, we wait till something happens and it's like, oh, let's have a policy, let's have a game plan. But I think every office needs to talk about safety. Associations need to bring people like Janet in to talk about safety more regularly, to just to remind us to always be on guard and that there are bad people out there that will do things to those of us who are just out trying to make a living and be honest folks selling
And
real estate. So,
And NAR does offer a safety course, and it can be used for continuing education. And I love teaching that course because there's always someone in the audience that had an experience, and sometimes they share it, sometimes they don't, but it's always heart-wrenching.
yes, I agree. Well, Janet, thank you so much. This has been wonderful. And I'll have Janet's contact information down below if you'd like to reach out to her.
Thank you,
Be
John.
all right. Thank you. And be
You
safe,
take care.
everyone. Bye. All right. Thank you. That was excellent.
Is that
I'll
all
edit
right?
that one piece out. Yeah, that was great. And now I might, there was a couple of these that would be great reels for Miami to kind of post it. It's okay if for
Oh,
you to,
yeah,
yeah,
whatever you
okay.
want's fine.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Whatever you want.
Well, have
Thank
a
you,
great
John.
day.
You
See you
take care.
later.
Bye.
Bye.